Gotcha.
What's going on, MBL Network? We are live here, twitch.tv/MBL Network, MBL 360 podcast. Today, episode 2. We are currently in the wild card round, MBL season 57. Hope you guys are enjoying the season so far. We do have some playoff action going on right now. I was going to say Cincinnati Bengals. The New York Jets, Denver Broncos. We'll be peeking in on that game here in a little bit. Want to get right into the show. Quibble, hope everything's going well for you. But we're talking we're not talking Los Angeles Chargers. We're talking building the franchise, Miami Dolphins right now. Did you see the ending to that game? Thompson came in, injury to Tua, not surprising. You see Thompson come in and kind of lead a bit of a charge. And, man, I thought Miami had it, and they deemed a field goal with no time left. That would have sent it into overtime, and it was a chippy. How'd you feel about that game walking out if you're a Dolphins fan? Feel like a missed opportunity?
You got a missed opportunity for sure. I mean, you lose your home field. You're now going on the road. I think they're going to Houston. Houston likes to put up points. They don't really got a defense. So it should be another shootout, just like the Jets game. I don't know. Is Tua healthy? Have reports been positive out of their camp?
That's a great question. I'm going to do my best to look right now and just check if I got anything in the inbox about an injured. It looks like I believe he's healthy right now.
He's healthy? Well, if he's healthy, I think they can take down Houston. No problem, honestly. Houston's been giving up a lot of points. I think there's more talent on this Miami team. They just were shredding a Jets defense that has a lot of playmakers everywhere. Their secondary, at least talent perspective wise, is one of the best. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I don't think Houston can match it.
Absolutely. Now, that's a great point you brought up. Miami Dolphins versus the Houston Texans, because tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we got building the franchise Miami Dolphins wild card round taking on the Houston Texans, the winner of their division. But Quibble, I'm with you, brother. I got Miami winning this game tonight. If Tua plays, I think they'll win by 10 plus. Now, if Tua doesn't play, it's going to be close. But what I saw from Thompson, I'm not too scared of the Houston Texans at all. Maybe I should be. Is there any positive or any reason why we should be afraid of this Houston Texans team?
I mean, so Houston doesn't have a defense to me. Every game I've watched, they've always struggled. They played in week 15 or 14 or something like that, and Miami pretty much kind of ran the table on them. I think they scored 40 on them. Stroud had a terrible day. He threw 6 picks. Just didn't look like his usual self. There is always that benefit of seeing a team twice.
Yeah.
So Houston kind of knows what Miami wants to do. Hopefully they have a better game plan this time, and we can have a competitive game on BTF.
All right, let's move forward.
I guess what you got to think is like Diggs had a crazy good game when they played in week 15.
Okay.
He's going to have to do even better, and they're going to have some support with the run game. It's playoff time. You got to be able to run the ball.
Well, one thing the Miami Dolphins can do, and that's create turnovers at opportune times. When you're telling me C.J. Stroud threw all these picks back when they played last, if I'm a Texans fan, I'm really concerned, because this is a ball hawking Miami Dolphins defense. They'll let you drive down the field, but they're good at getting these takeaways, especially when they need it the most. And Stephon Diggs, I'm hearing, is actually out of this game. So,
if they don't have Diggs, that's going to be rough.
All right, we're gonna close this. Score prediction though. What do you got?
Score prediction. Yeah. I think Miami's dropping at least 42 again. I can't see that. There's too much offense. There's big plays. I could see Houston putting up 35. Maybe they get a lucky turnover. Tua's known to throw into triple coverage sometimes and hope that their players get the catch. So maybe Tua has a 1 or 2 pick and it's swapped 42-35 either way. But I'm still going to lean towards Miami unless Houston decides to run the ball a little bit more.
So let's say Miami wins. What score prediction do you see for Miami to win this game? What does it need to be?
Score prediction. They gotta drop 42 points probably. Because Houston can always score. Their defense has to get at least 2 turnovers and stop the run.
All right, there you have
Joe Mixon gets going.
So what
I think Houston can steal it. 42-35 is my score, I guess.
And for Texans to win, and I was right there. I thought, man, they might need to score 50 to win, 51, 45 kind of thing. I don't know. But I'm right with you. Those are our score predictions here, MBL 360 podcast for the Building the Franchise that's happening tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Building the Franchise, Miami Dolphins head to Houston to take on the Houston Texans in what could be a high-scoring game. I imagine it to be high-scoring, hopefully in favor of our Miami Dolphins. Houston sitting 3 at 10-7 in the conference, and Miami, we didn't win the division, so we fell to 11-6. The Jets won the division at 13-4. We're the 6th seed, 3 seed versus the 6th seed. That's the game you're getting tonight. What's going on, Big Sal? He says Texans got that game. Nico Collins is also out for the Houston Texans, they believe tonight. He's going to be a game-time decision, but leaning towards out. So we're going to find out here shortly with him. Let's go ahead and move on. We're talking Los Angeles Chargers right now. How good have they been this season? 17-0, absolutely perfect. And I said it yesterday, as much as I love Justin Herbert and everything he's done, he's my MVP. This defense has been on a freaking just ripping through teams. Justin Herbert's offense is putting up 38 points per game. The defense is only allowing 17 points per game. Talk to us a little bit about Los Angeles Chargers and why on the 360 podcast, we love this team.
Yeah, they're number one for the reason. They went undefeated in the regular season. Pretty much no one came close to them. That defense is for real. That offense is for real. They got a running back with Keaton Mitchell. He's only played 13 games, but he scored 24 touchdowns. That was a huge trade for them. I think they got him from the Ravens. They traded out like Quentin Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't think Quentin Johnson did that well. I think last time I checked, he had like maybe 700 yards and like a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's not close production wise. And let's don't even rule out Keaton Mitchell's 4 touchdowns that came in the passing attack. 39 receptions for 420 yards, averaging 10.7 a reception. You know, coming out the backfield and making that kind of impact in the passing game. 4th on the team in touchdowns with 4 touchdowns. I guess 5th. I didn't see Darius Davis down here. That's really concerning. Yeah. You know, when you're looking back at that trade, and as a Ravens fan, you're like, what did we let go here? You know, I know Derrick Henry's a little older, man, and this guy's balling over here.
Yeah, Herbert almost got 5,000 yards passing. They barely turned the ball over. I think he only threw like 5 or 6 interceptions. He's thrown for 48 touchdowns. Like they have an offense that can score with the best of them. There is one cause for concern. Playing a team twice. I think they have to play. I know they played Kansas City already twice. The first game, Herbert had a pretty good game. I think like 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. The second game, honestly, Kansas City should have won that game. They kind of threw that away, in my opinion. They picked off Herbert like 3 times, maybe 4 times. So they weren't perfect. And if you're not perfect in the playoffs, you know, that's where you can start losing games. So, I mean, Baltimore has already seen them and Kansas City has seen them, and so has Denver. So those are 3 teams that, you know, could potentially second time around or third time around, I guess, for their division mates, come in with a plan and slow down their offense. If I was trying to defend them, you got to stop the running back.
And that was the first time Week 14 with the Kansas City Chiefs, as we got it on the screen right here, took on the Los Angeles Chargers. Excuse me. I'm looking at this game, right, against Kansas City, and the Chargers end up winning 28-23. That was the first and only game in which Justin Herbert had a negative touchdown to interception ratio. As a matter of fact, I can go a step further. Only other time that he came close was 1 touchdown, 1 interception versus Baltimore in a 38-14 win. So he's only been there once. He's always had a positive touchdown to interception ratio, and 1-to-1 happened once, and a -1 happened once. So this is a pretty, you know, but both of them happened in the last, you know, from week 12 till now. Maybe we saw a little bit less dominance as far as yardage goes in the last 3-4 games. You know, you're looking at 292, 212, 227, $158. But these wins and the point differentials have been so high, it's hard for me to judge them. But yeah, Kansas City, Los Angeles Chargers, that'll definitely be a game to watch. Let's go ahead and move forward with the we're going to talk about some other teams, right?
Oh, yeah. You want to go through the playoff matchups that we have on the AFC and NFC side?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
so Quibble's prediction on this one. As you've seen the show, he gave his prediction on building the franchise Miami Dolphins. He thinks the Dolphins are going to win 42-35. And then for the, was that the final you gave? So you gave the same final
42-35. Yeah, 42-35 Miami.
Yeah.
They go into Houston and
for
get the
Houston
W.
to win, you said 42-35, right?
No, I think if Houston wins, they got to run the ball, so this game's getting slowed down. So I'm thinking that's like a 28-21 type game.
Oh, 28-21.
Limited possessions.
So a high-scoring Houston team that with a defense that gives up a lot, they're going to have to stop this Jets team and then kind of dial it back as far as the pace of their offense. Can they adjust that much? They are a division-winning 10-7 Houston Texans team. Miami sitting 6th seed at 11-6. I just don't think they're going to have that kind of change up. I'm with Quibble on this one. I got our Miami Dolphins defeating the Houston Texans tonight as well. But let's go through it. Let's give our playoff predictions, and we'll talk about it back and forth, and we'll let Quibble give his predictions on this episode.
All right, well, let's do the game that's going on right now. We got the Jets and the Broncos. Broncos are in New York right now. They're currently leading 21-14 with 4 minutes left in the second. So
Broncos with the lead on the road versus the New York Jets, which is our wild card game of the week. And I'm going to tell you this. We already know it's 21-14. I'm going to tell you how Neon Sports had this game. They had it 33-30 New York Jets over the Denver Broncos. You see this 21-14 with Denver with the lead. What do you think in final predictions, final score here? And I'm asking the chat as well. You can punch yours in, and we'll call them out on the show.
You know, I'm thinking Denver's going to come away with a win. I mean, it's obviously front running because they're leading now, but Denver is in a tough division. They've faced the Chargers and Kansas City all the
Good
time,
point.
so they're
I'm
used
hitting
to
the
high
horn on
scoring
that.
points. So like this Jets offense isn't really anything special to them because they've facing better offenses in the AFC West. And then I just don't trust this Jets defense. They give up too many points. I think they gave up like 62 or 63 to the Steelers earlier this year.
Yeah.
We saw last time on BTF they gave up 49. I think Denver's just going to have their way on offense, and they'll get that one or two turnovers on a bad Aaron Rodgers throw or miscommunication with his receivers.
Yeah, you look at this. The Chargers are 17-0. Denver played them twice. The Kansas City Chiefs 13-4. Denver played them twice. And even the Raiders, even though the Denver Broncos are 9-7-1, which puts them at 9 wins, 7 losses, and a tie, the Raiders won 5 games as well. They didn't win one game. You know, these were competitive teams in competitive games, and Denver is in that beautiful spot where they're a team that probably would be an 11-12 win team if they weren't in the division. But that 9-7-1, I just think it kind of makes them a little bit of the underdogs, a little X factor going into this playoffs. And you think they're going to win. And what's the score prediction you got for that game?
Oh, so I'm watching it on the side as well. The Jets just failed to convert on 4th down in the red zone, so Denver's got the ball back with 2 minutes left. So they got a chance to make it to double them up basically right before half. I don't know who has the ball at half, but I still think Denver's going to win. Maybe it's going to be like a 42-28 type game. I just don't see New York coming back.
All right, what's the next game we got? So Quibble's got the Jets over, the Broncos over the Jets 42-28. He has the Jets taking the L today, even though they are at home. And he really just attributed it to a 13-4 Kansas City team and a 17-0, didn't lose one game Chargers team being in the division, man. You get an opportunity to play against top talent.
Yeah, you got to be battle tested.
All right, so what do we got next?
So the next one we got the Ravens hosting the Kansas City Chiefs.
Which that game should be starting sometime soon as well. What do we got there, Quibble? What's the feel? Lamar Jackson they really had a bad last 6 games. And I've seen teams do this before, kind of slide at the end and then hit the playoffs and things start clicking again like they did at the beginning. But this is a team definitely on the trend, probably down especially the last half of the season. Maybe I think lost 5 of their last 7 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, this isn't a really good matchup for the Ravens, honestly. Kansas City has one of like the better run defenses. I think they're like number 1 or 2 in the league. And frankly, the Ravens are a running team. So they're going to want to run the ball. So it's going to be strength for strength. It's going to see who can ultimately win out. There is a potential for Lamar to kind of have a wild game that he gets these big plays, because while Kansas City is great at run defense, they are one of the worst at pass defenses.
And you got a Ravens team on defense pretty balanced. They're top 10 against the pass, top 10 against the rush. They're sitting 10th overall in points allowed at 26. They're scoring 30. And yeah, their pass offense hasn't been good, 26 in the league. They got a top 6, just outside the top 5, a 6 overall rushing attack with Derrick Henry, and he's came on as of late as well. They're coming off a 26-20 victory against the Cleveland Browns. They're in Week 18 now, set to take on Kansas City. They are at home. What are we doing as far as score predictions for this game?
Oh, score predictions. So I know Lamar averages like 1.8 or 2 picks a game. So he's really going to have to take care of the ball to have a chance to win this. I think this is a low scoring game. I could see a 28-21 type game. It can go, honestly, a coin flip. I think with the experience with Patrick Mahomes,
so you talked yourself into a Ravens potential 50-50 here, huh?
I think it's a coin flip. I think it comes down to if Lamar's going to take care of the ball or not.
Yeah.
If he takes care of the ball, I think they have a chance to win it. There's too much talent on that defense, and if you stop Pacheco and you just don't you play that cover 2 and you don't give up that deep pass, you're going to be in a grinded out type game.
Yeah.
And I think just that Ravens defense is ready for the grind out.
And
however, I just don't have the trust with Lamar he's been too turnover prone. So I'm going to take Kansas City 28-21.
I like it. And I was thinking Kansas City, man, you sold me on the division, how tough their division is. I thought, man, this team is just battle tested. They're going to go into Baltimore and probably come away with the win. But then you start talking about Lamar Jackson making these big plays, then they're top 10. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know. There is a chance for Baltimore to sneak out a win at home against a heavily favored Kansas City team. And man, I like to believe in Baltimore Ravens can get it done. But Quibble's got the predictions. He's 28-21, and he's taking the Chiefs. But remember, he did say, Ravens faithful, he did say it could be a coin flip there, about 28-21 in the game. And I think that sounds like a beautiful final result.
It's going to be some must-see TV, honestly, especially if it's a weather element type game, if the broadcast has snow. All
right, so Cougs is asking, is there any running game effectiveness with the quarterback? Lamar Jackson had 100 attempts, 585 yards, and 12 touchdowns on the ground. So I think he's putting in some work there.
Yeah, there's been an evolution of the mobile quarterback this season. I think there's quite a couple quarterbacks that are multi-touchdown guys. Just with the way defenses are playing more of a cover two, there's a lot of lanes for your quarterback to get those 3 or 4 yards and keep the drive going.
Yep. Right, what I was thinking there, Quibble. All right, let's move on to the next game.
Yeah, so I guess on the AFC side, we have every team, or at least I have every team, going into somebody else's house and taking a victory. So, Road Warriors on the AFC side.
There we go.
All right, so on the NFC side, we got Detroit and the Cowboys.
Oh man, we did talk about all the AFCs.
Yeah,
give us
all
your
the
predictions
AFCs
on there. I'll sub myself out on this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys have been struggling the last whole half of the season. Honestly, the back half, I think they lost. Like they've won one game. They started 7-0, 8-0, 9-0.
That was probably
so
about 7-0.
They've definitely struggled the back half, but they've also faced a lot of teams that are competitive. A couple teams, I believe, are in the playoffs, so they're going to see teams twice. I don't know if they played Detroit this year, so they might not have any film to know what works and what doesn't work against them. They got to go into Detroit. I think Detroit's defense is just too good right now. The offense kind of seems lost on the Cowboys side. It looks like they're changing some things up from the previous games I've seen. I think it's probably a game that's like 35-14, honestly, with Dak throwing a couple picks.
That's predictions for the Cowboys, Texans. And as you did that, let's move on. I'm going to do the Commanders, Carolina. That'll be my only prediction today. This is tough for me. Washington came out with a big-time win against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 18, I believe. And the Carolina Panthers have kind of been struggling by here as of late. Can they turn the switch on?
Something big for that Washington team is Jaden Daniels is going to be pretty much out for the entire playoffs.
Jaden Daniels out for the playoffs. So now we have
Geno Smith or Marcus Mariota, I believe, are the two candidates.
Came in the game versus. I guess your week 18
I don't think their coach
Atlanta.
knows what they want to do, honestly. He was like swapping between two guys, and they were like looked like a college offense playing like that. Those old school Florida offenses when they had Tebow.
Yeah, so Geno Smith likely to get the start. Is that what I'm hearing?
Potentially. You never know with that coach. He's all over the place.
Keeping it close to the vest. Carolina Panthers, they're the favorites to win on Neon Sports. I think it's going to be a field goal game. 11-6 is what Carolina finished up at home. Washington got hot towards the end, and Carolina kind of fizzling a little bit. Did come away with the victory in the last week of this season. Oh, man, this is tough for me. I'm just going to say it's going to be a 3-point game. I'm not picking a team here. It could go either way. It literally is 50-50 for me on this. Whoever gets the ball last at the end, I'm not saying that teams aren't going to make some stops. These teams are going to make some stops. There's going to be a couple punts, but whoever has the ball at the end, I think clutches up and gets that field goal or much-needed touchdown for the last score. The last score will win the game. That's how I see this game going. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. And without your starting quarterback, Washington, is in a bit of a situation, and I don't know who Carolina's going to start at their quarterback. I mean, Bryce Young has returned, but man, they had a lot of success down the stretch when they switched to Taylor Heineke away from Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton was kind of struggled a little bit there. They'll probably go back to Bryce Young. I'm about 90% sure. But I think the game comes down to a touchdown, and not having your starting quarterback for Washington, I think, hurts them a lot more, as we're talking about a different tier and a different path quarterback, one that's going to be very successful and be a franchise quarterback indefinitely for Washington, I believe. Last game we got left, Minnesota, San Francisco. San Francisco limped in with a division title. A division title at 8-9, a game under 500. And they're going to tell us how many games they lost by one possession. You're not going to believe it, all this stuff. But I'm just saying, that division, to win at 8-9, do you think least competitive division in the MBL right now?
I mean, they lost a lot of games maybe they shouldn't have. I'll give them that. I saw a couple games, and honestly, they just fumbled it away. But I wouldn't say this is a guaranteed victory for those Vikings. I mean, you just remember back in the day, you had the 7-9 Seattle Seahawks in beast mode when the Saints came into town. So all the records are thrown out at that point.
And Brawler in the chat wants to say he's got Panthers by 14 over Washington Commanders. Also, Big Sal, he wants to know your stat predictions for a tweet coming out. What was our stat predictions on Miami versus Texans?
Oh, okay. Miami versus Texans, right? Was 42-35. 42-35 was Texans.
Okay. 42-30, 42-28. And you got a couple 42s.
So I did 42-35 for the Texans and Miami game. 28-21 Kansas City versus Baltimore. And
I think 42-28 Jets Broncos.
Yeah, 42-28 Jets Broncos.
With Broncos winning that one.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And then on the Cowboys side, I think I did I do 35-14?
Yeah. That's what you said.
35-14 for Detroit and the Cowboys game.
All right, let's press forward. Now we got the playoffs done. We're going to talk a little bit of off-season.
We gotta figure out who we want for the San Francisco and Vikings game, though.
Yeah.
We can't let that go away.
We can't. I just thought this was an obvious one. Tell me your score prediction.
Oh, obvious. What's your? Hold on. Let me hear your prediction if it's obvious.
I got the Vikings running away with this one. You don't think so?
Oh, what's your score though? Do you have a score?
They always lose by one possession, right? So I could be friendly, but I think this game, because all that talk about we lose by one possession, this one's going to be by 10 points.
10
something
points?
like 31-21. That's why I see a field goal at the end for the Vikings, which gets Niners down 2 scores. A couple minutes left. They can't do anything.
So I think these Niners going to come away with a victory. I think it's going to be a 31-24 type game.
Ooh, I'm hitting the horn on that. So you say it's going to be a what game?
I think it's going to be like 31-24 49ers.
Wow.
I think there's a lot of potential. I mean, they played earlier this year, so they've seen each other. San Francisco went to Minnesota, and they lost by 5 there, and they turned over the ball. They were taking sacks. They were just all over the place.
Yeah.
If CMC can hold on to the ball and they can just finish in the red zone, this could be a pretty close game, and I could see San Francisco winning, getting maybe a couple home calls since we have losses coming for the away teams.
Now we got Minnesota highlighted there on that right side. They finished 13-4. The Niners finished 8-9, but the Niners are going to be at home in this game because they won their division, obviously. Sub 500 at home. But one thing the Niners have done, those one-score, one-possession games, they've been in these games, and their defense, let's not even attempt to try to undervalue the talent that they have on that defensive side of the ball. If that beast ever was to get on the same page with each other, it could get...
Yeah, they're right there. They're right there.
Spoiler against this Minnesota Vikings team that finished 13-4.
Yeah, and if it's a raining game or something, if San Francisco gets that ever famous rain, it's possible.
Yeah, and they turned it into just a running attack when Minnesota, they did trade for Travis Etienne, but it's been mostly like those outside runs. In the rain, you got to be able to get in those trenches and run up the middle and grind it out. I don't know if they got that type of offensive line, and I don't think they have the halfback for it. You could see fumbles on that side as well. But I'm still sticking with Minnesota. I was asked, so I said 31-21. Different prediction, 31-24 is what you have?
Correct.
And that's with the San Francisco 49ers moving on to the divisional round of the playoffs, beating the 13-4 Minnesota Vikings. Stay tuned. If that's right, man, we're going to have to get another show on here. We got Quibble predicting all kinds of crazy things, and he seems to know the future. Let's move.
If I knew the future, I'd be a multimillionaire.
Well, maybe you just know the future of MBL. It's pretty worthless as far as money goes. but hey, it could be real interesting for this podcast. Let's move forward. We're going to talk about some teams that we think or that you have a list of.
So I've been kind of tracking. I always enjoy watching what teams do for the offseason. I'm kind of just seeing who hasn't been signed yet. So I got a couple players or one player for almost every single team that's going to be a free agent, and I'm going to basically list them out to you, and you're going to tell me if they think you think they keep them or not. How's that sound?
All right, that sounds like a fun game. And in the chat, if I'm wrong, man, please correct me.
All right, there's no particular order, so you can't really go by division. But,
all right.
So let's start with the Philadelphia Eagles. They have outside linebacker Josh Sweat. He still doesn't have a contract. And, they're the number one seed in the NFC. He doesn't have a contract. Do you think they're signing him? You think he's walking? What do you think's going on there?
Josh Sweat, 27. He's going to be 28 years old. Doesn't have any freak. Yeah, Josh Sweat's going to be cut.
You think he's a free agent? All right.
Unless he does something in the playoffs that dominates and it makes ownership feel like, okay, this guy, we had plans for him, but we won a championship with him and he did some stuff, we might keep him. But I don't see anything other than that. If everything goes normally in the playoffs and he doesn't show up for really anything, or he continues to play at the same level he has, they're going to let him go. And they just don't believe, 28 years old at that pass rush position. That's not really a player they want. They definitely want younger and more athleticism at that position.
Absolutely. All right, so Detroit, they got a right guard, Kevin Ziegler. He hasn't been signed yet. You think he's retiring?
He's told the Detroit front office that this is likely his last season. That's why a contract hasn't been put in. If something changes during the offseason, I assume Detroit would be down for one more run with Zeitler, the former Baltimore Raven. But as of right now, expect Zeitler to retire, and he's giving it everything he got this season.
So we got a Super Bowl run, trying to have the old Jerome Bettis.
I guess.
All right, so we got Hassan Reddick. He just was acquired from New York Jets this year. He's with Minnesota now. I think he was like maybe 2 or 3 in the sack total. He still doesn't have that long-term contract.
And who was that again?
Hassan Reddick. He's with Minnesota.
All right, let's go take a little snap at Hassan Reddick with Minnesota. Minnesota actually brought in a couple guys, a couple draft guys to try to win now.
I'm hearing that it's a potential that he's going to see the tag this offseason, actually. He's not going to be able to walk.
Hassan Reddick is going to be turning 30. He's a superstar player in our league for sure. Only 14 sacks this year, 3 deflections. Yeah, he'll be coming back. They'll tag him.
He's getting tagged.
He's getting tagged.
All right, and then we got the Jets, their trade partner. You got Mike Williams. He was almost traded 2 or 3 times this season. Still doesn't have that long-term deal. He's balling out. I think he had like 10-plus touchdowns for the Jets. You think they're going to keep him, or you think they go younger?
Mike Williams on the season, 83 receptions, 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns. He's going to be hitting the free agency. Garrett Williams can I mean, can we say 106 catches, 1292? He underperformed. I'm looking at the touchdowns. He's not double-digit touchdowns on that team. You know, Tyler Conklin has 10 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson has 6, and Mike Williams has 13. You know, it goes back to the thing. If the Jets were to go on a crazy run, which we need an update on that game, Quibble. But if the Jets
we got a 35-28 score right now with Denver winning with about 58 seconds left.
In the game?
Jets are driving on the 43-yard line.
What's the Twitch stream there?
T4 Verts.
Yeah, we might need to see this end. We're going to do some diving in here, boys. All right, let's take a look at this game.
It's 2 plays, and with that last play, he's now up over that 300.
This is a live look. Go ahead.
I was going to say, while we got the game plan in the background, if we see any big plays, we can talk about it. But I got the Chiefs got a lot of people that are going to be free agents potentially because they are not signed, and they are going probably one last big run for a Super Bowl title before that Mahomes contract starts messing up their cap space.
So who's the player?
So they got 5 or 6, I think, now. They got their center, Creed Humphrey. They got their right guard, Trey Smith, so 2 top-of-the-line guys on the offensive line. They got the Bobby Wagner middle linebacker that they acquired from Washington this year. They got Nick Bolton, another middle linebacker that's just like breaking up plays all the time in the backfield. They got Justin Reed, their strong safety. And then they also got Hollywood Brown out wide, just the speed demon. So they got 1, 2, 3. They got 6 guys that are core contributors that are starters for their team that, you know, they might not be back next year.
Well, Hollywood Brown is coming back to Kansas City. There's just no way he leaves. Not with that offense and the explosion that he provides for that offense. He's not getting rid of that guy. And I think
they got Xavier Worthy, though. They just drafted Xavier, and he's been kind of filling that role too, though.
Well, you ever heard 2's better than 1 and 3's better than 2? I think that might be the motto, and there's a touchdown tying the game up for Breece Hall and this New York Jets. It wasn't the last 55 seconds. Quibble lied to us. It was the third
I said the last 55 seconds of the third.
Oh, well, that part didn't come in. I thought it was the end of the game. But, hey, we'll have this up on the screen, and we'll finish the last fourth quarter up as we drop into that. But
absolutely,
I just think they're not going to get rid of Hollywood Brown. I think that might be the guy holding him up. They're trying to get a better deal with him, and he's holding up everybody because once he gets paid, they'll know where they can use their tag at if necessary. But I think he might be the guy that they use as a tag, which is crazy because the wide receiver tag isn't cheap. But
yeah, like 23 million or so.
I just see that guy isn't going anywhere, and he might be who's holding up everyone else. Let's go to another team.
Another team. Let's do the undefeated San Diego Chargers. Or sorry, LA Chargers. Sorry, San Diego. You got Khalil Mack, who's he's going to be my AFC Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He would have my vote. He doesn't have a contract yet. I mean, I know he's on the older side, but you know, unless he's retiring if they win the Super Bowl.
What is he, 34 or 32?
I think he's 32. I mean, if he could just want to walk off in the sunset if the Chargers get the job done in the playoffs, but I think he'll have somebody's going to want him next year.
Yeah, and he came and played very, very well for them this season on that deal. Statistically, he just put up solid numbers. I mean, you look at Khalil Mack, 13.5 sacks. That's more sacks than we've mentioned today. For anyone, 4 forced fumbles, an interception, and a deflection. Man,
yeah, so I was kind of doing some look-see for how I'm going to vote coming up, and Khalil Mack's got 34 tackles for losses, 13.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. He only played 747 snaps.
Oh yeah, so he was just a weapon. A weapon.
He was a weapon, and I think the usual snap count was like 850 plus. So like 6% of his plays that he was on the field, it was a negative play for the offense. That's insane.
Wow. Hit the horn on that. Shout out to Khalil Mack, and it's worse than I thought. He's 33, which means he turns 34. I don't think the Chargers are going to keep a regressing player. This is a team that's sitting with just $12.5 million available in their cap right now.
Do you think they can find somebody better than him in the draft? Or, say Chargers don't get it done this year. You think they're going to let that productivity walk out the door?
Yeah.
You don't think they're going to try to run it back?
I just think based on history, I just think the age is too old for somebody that they'd want at that position. I mean, this is a superstar caliber player in our team, so that does make a big difference. He does, he forces fumbles. That's a very highly in demand skill, to go along with double digit sacks. So,
yeah.
I don't know what he's asking for right now, but they got $12.5 million in available cap. I just don't see the investment in that.
I got every team, but I'm going to list a couple.
All right.
A couple players that I think are Pro Bowl caliber players, and let's see what you
just
think
run
about
through
that.
them. You don't need my back and forth.
So DeMarcus Lawrence for Dallas. We got Najee Harris and Cameron Hayward for the Steelers. We got Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb with the Browns. We got Travarius Ward, Dre Greenlaw, and Debo with the 49ers. We got Keenan Allen.
They're in a tough space financially, right?
The 49ers, yeah. I believe their cap situation is going to be a little bit of struggle bus. I think they're hoping Trent Williams gives back some money and retires.
Yeah.
Because I think they got a young rookie that they can kind of slot into the left side. But I mean, if he wants to stick around, he can't really be traded. So one or two of those guys probably aren't going to get the money they want.
Yeah.
So you got Keenan Allen with the Bears. You got DeAndre Hopkins, the Titans. I think maybe he wants to go to a team that he has a chance to win a Super Bowl. Tennessee's just maybe a year or two out from being realistically a contender.
Shit, maybe back to Houston for a year.
Yeah, can you imagine him retiring with Houston? They got Nico Collins, Diggs, and Hopkins. That'd be a
perfect
fun
spot and a perfect role for him with the quarterback. He's a young quarterback, but by next season, I think he's going to be very well established as a top tier quarterback and playing that consistent level of ball.
Yeah, and you also got a young number one receiver. Well, I guess he's a number two for Cincinnati, but T. Higgins. He still doesn't have a contract. It's been one of the more vocal things that he's been trying to get one. He will be a number one somewhere if he's not with Cincinnati.
Thanks. All right, let's keep it moving.
All right, you want to do some of the awards, and then we can watch the last couple minutes of this game.
That works for me.
All right, so who do you got for MVP? Do you want me to go through my ideas and then maybe you?
Yeah, no, let's do all yours. I mean, you did the legwork on this. Great. I'll just comment and chip off the top.
So I'm kind of a homer for Team Chargers. I think the Chargers potentially take all the AFC awards. I think they take MVP with Herbert. I think Keaton Mitchell is my offensive player of the year on the AFC side. And honestly, my defensive player of the year is a toss-up between Crosby and Mack. I already shared Mack's stats with the 34 tackles for loss, 13.5 sacks, 7 forced fumbles.
I would love to lean towards Mack in that just because.
But you got Crosby. Crosby had a pretty good year.
I don't have Crosby, but I just haven't looked. But I just hope it would be Mack. Just because 33 years old, he put in one last season. If they were to win the championship, I mean, that's just a phenomenal story, right?
Yeah. I mean, Crosby's also had a pretty good season. He's had 36 tackles for losses and 16.5 sacks, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
But he has like another 150 snaps. So he was on the field more. You can argue if that's better or worse from a stat perspective. Crosby, I'm pretty sure, has been one of the top run defenders. So, that's a statistician's dream to kind of do the whole PFF on that stuff. For the NFC side, I think you gotta look at Pitts. He's been a monster offensively. I think he's almost got like 2,000 yards and like 20 touchdowns or something ridiculous.
And he missed
and I think he only played 15 games. Yeah, he missed a couple games. He's been by far the greatest skill position player this season, I think. On the defensive side, I think you got to give it to Parsons. He's got 24 tackles for loss, 17 sacks. I think he's got like 1 or 2 touchdowns. He barely played. He had less snaps than Mack, I think like 700. When I did the math, it was about 6% of the snaps that he was playing was also negative play for the offense. I think you gotta look at Carter in Philadelphia. He's been a crazy good D tackle there. He's always in the backfield. I think he had like 15 sacks and like 20 plus tackles for loss.
That guy's a stud.
And then, you know, you got
in a 3-4 that's getting that kind of push, you know. Great size.
Yeah, and then you got a linebacker. You got a linebacker in New York that really hasn't gotten a lot of media attention, but his play has just been miraculous. You got Bobby O'Keefe. He's had a couple tackles for loss, like 15 or 17. He's got 9 picks as a linebacker. He's a tackling machine. I think he's had over 100 tackles this year, and he's also sacking the quarterback. I think he had like 3 or 5. So he's right there. And then for our rookies, you know, you got the AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year. You got it's got to go to Buffalo's Cole Bishop. He's got 9 picks as I think he's a safety, but he plays a lot of nickel. That's just Buffalo's scheme, so he's definitely got the opportunity to take away that award. NFC side, you got another safety in Jerron Bullard. NFC Rookie of the Years, you got to have Penix. I think Penix is clear and cut the Rookie of the Year for offense.
Yeah.
Young guys got
yards,
over,
and he cleaned up his touchdown to interception ratio as the season progressed. Right, he just seemed like a little bit less careless with the ball as we got down to the final stretch, and to me that was a big game. Yeah,
I was watching this game. Jets almost just lost it right here. They almost just fumbled.
Oh, they did? Are you ahead of me?
Yeah, they fumbled, and, you know, Rodgers, they got lucky. They picked it back up. He's driving 42-35, you know, Broncos get that stop, and, you know.
Is it a 2-minute warning
predictions right there. 2-minute warning, yeah. They're the Jets are up. They're on offense right now. And then for the Offensive Rookie of the Year on the AFC side, it's got to go to Brock Bowers.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy good tight end. 21 touchdowns, over 1,700 yards. So that's my awards, and, you know, I think we got to watch this last minute and 45 seconds or so. I'll let you kind of get a little ad hoc commentary.
We'll take this off there. Rodgers to throw. Aaron Rodgers there to the left side picks up a first down, and they're in a little no huddle here. $1:20 left. Clock is a ticking. Both teams with 3 timeouts. Another quick seam throw, holds on to the ball. That's Rondell Moore, the speedster there, number 14 for the New York Jets. No huddle again. Burning clock here. This is just one mistake from Aaron Rodgers, throwing this game away. I just feel like he's going to throw a touchdown or he's going to throw a pick here in the next 2 plays.
50 seconds left to go in the game. They'll come up first and
just
10.
burning clock, going no huddle, calling a timeout. You didn't like what you saw.
Trying to leave. Oh, dangerous.
This pass
oh, wow.
And down inside the
how does Breece Hall stay on his feet there?
He has been terrific today, hasn't he? Yeah, absolutely.
And that was a bad throw. That could have been picked off. 14-yard line, 40 seconds left. Jets with their first timeout used. They still have 2 remaining. First and 10 at the 14. Watch the seam to A. Doesn't go there.
Throwing quickly to Wilson. Now the
Jets burn another timeout.
3 timeouts.
2nd and 5 from the 9, so they're still thinking they could pick up that first down, Quibble.
Nothing fancy on first down, but a very consistent type of a play.
I mean, they need a touchdown.
A lot of people call it an extension of the running game. And
the question is, do they go for 2 if they get it?
Into the end zone. There's a question that's going to be answered right now. They say they're going to kick a field goal here. 27 seconds. Denver's going to have all 3 timeouts.
That extra point is not a gimme.
I would rather just, you know, put it in my offense's hands. Seasons. I don't know. I can't. I think you just got to go for it there. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the world.
So you think Broncos have a chance to score here? Get in field goal range?
As the kick is away here.
I mean, even if they don't, it's got a coin flip. They've already lost once because of a coin flip versus Miami earlier this year. Why would you put yourself in that position? End on your terms.
We're going to see if Denver's got it. Denver has been very conservative as far as their approach. And here's Deuce close. So this is where you got to expect play action cross coming, right?
Here's 1st and 10.
I mean, I think you could run it. I think you can run every single time and get. You only need to get to like 40-yard line.
There's the cross I was talking about. Oh, there's 17. He's got space to the right side. Fights a man off.
Big
What a
time.
risky decision to fight the man off at the end there, right? Our brawler saying score with a field goal, please.
Grown man strength right there.
Yeah. And you talk about running.
Now you run it twice, and
That's 20 yards
the
after
field
the
goal.
catch, Quibble, where he gets contact 20 yards down the field. He's got to be gassed. And he just fights the DB off and picks up a few more. 18 seconds left at the 30-yard line now. I believe that you should run, but, man, I don't want to run against this. Unless I'm doing a jet touch pass. I'm getting all the way outside. Oh, he cuts back inside there. The Jets are in trouble here. Still, you got to kick a field goal. We've seen guys miss field goals this season.
Denver's battle tested. I think that whole squad's ready for this.
Yeah, Slim, I think that he should have been in a robber at least. You see Deuce close, you think crosser. So if you're going to be in man coverage, you got to be in at least a robber to take that crosser, right? And, yeah, you just didn't see it on that play. Here's a shotgun formation. There's a handoff. Trying to get upfield, trying to get straight on the line here. This will be about a 39-yard field goal from here. What do you think?
Yeah, if the Jets lose this game, it's because of their defense. It's been the problem all year.
Well, they just won a game because somebody dinged a field goal being the Miami Dolphins, right?
Yeah, but maybe the luck's gone.
We're going to find out here in just a few seconds. Oh, gosh. I think he's going to shank it. Nope. Jets go home. Broncos win. Thoughts on that?
I called it. I was a little off. In the score, but Broncos battle tested. AFC West, one of the toughest division, if not the toughest division in the MBL right now.
Yep.
It was basically just routine for Denver.
Too easy. All right, that's going to do it for our show, 360 Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. For myself and Quibble, we're out of here. Don't forget, in about an hour or less, I think less, about 52 minutes, we'll be doing the Miami Dolphins wild card game against the Houston Texans. 10-7 Texans, 11-6 BTF, building the franchise Miami Dolphins. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you there, and we'll see you next time.